I always felt there is a first mover advantage in buying new launches. Of course, let's look at our subject today, which is One North Eden. So you can see the estimated from all these details. These are quite important, right? You can see that they bought the land about $1,000 per square foot for plot ratio, plus everything in, because probably it's a smaller land, so the break even is slightly higher, so about 1,674 estimated by each property. And then we look at this that we already have been receiving from our developer side. Let me just pull out the. Give me a second. I found it. Color pencil rates. Okay, so we have pulled out this. So we are going to start from 995, which if you look at this, one bedroom is going to start from about 1,009 odd lah. But entry price could possibly be about 1,008. So if you track back here, when we have a break even about 1,006, 1,007 round up, it's profiting at about $100 to $150 per square foot. And today you can see projects are generally more savvy on their launch price. Maybe used to be seeing $400-500 per square foot profits, but it's all subject to a lot of things lah. Okay, so this is your positioning, right? And of course, here we are trying to prove this point called first mover advantage. Means what? First mover means moving first lah. So maybe we're trying to say that buying the project first is advantage. But of course, how? So from a lot of track records, you can see we plugged a few track records. Okay, in fact, you can really get a lot of these track records, which is quite proven. For example, we talk about a project like Forest Wood. You can see that this is on the 9th floor. This is on the 4th floor. The entry at the launch, which is 1.6, you can actually get a higher floor, and it's actually 270,000 cheaper, than the lower floor, which totally make no sense. So this is exactly what we are always talking about. So sometimes our buyer, when they are out there, they don't see this pattern. So from this chart, you can make them see the first mover advantage. Why? Because all developer wants to profit. So like for this project, we are entering about maybe $100, $200 per square foot, this profit. And subsequently, of course, the developer definitely want to capitalize on it. But the thing is, we only have about 100 over, we got not much unit, right? So this is going to be a really fast game project. So definitely entering first is very crucial for One North, right? And I can see from here, really entering late. How late? They enter probably almost 2 years late, right? So they get a lower floor, they get paying about almost $270,000 more. Okay, and of course, then we have another project that I came out. I check. So you can see here is the first mover advantage. When TCC, the Clement Canopy, if you remember this launch, 1.7, okay, you can probably get a 39th floor, 38th floor, all right? And then when you enter late, say about a year later only, all right, this drops until 14th floor, but actually you buy half lower, not half, probably 3 times lower, and you're actually paying $222,000 more. But why is the crucial? See, just now from the first example, I show you buying first, but we never show, we need to show our buyer why. Why is it important to buy early? So from here, you can see TCC already, TOP, people are already selling, all right, over here. You can see this 27th floor unit, right? It's sold at 2 million, right? So if you enter at 1.7, definitely now you have a better profit versus you enter at 1.992. How much profit is there going to be for you? So end of the day, everybody buy a property, whether for own stay or for investment. At the back of their head, people just want to make money, even though paper gain. They want to make sure what they buy at least has a promising exit strategy. So to me, this is the exit strategy. Over here, all these are the entry. So I felt as an agent, sometimes when you, at this stage before the launch, you're talking to your buyers, you need to be able to talk about, the possible predicted exit. Even though, yes, their own stay, they're not going to exit, but this will make them really see more into the buying the new launches. So what I'm trying to say, if you enter at this price and the exit is about 2 million, so the entry actually sets the profits. So when you enter late, you get higher costs, so the profit will be lower. Of course, arguable, it's not always the case, right? But let's look at the other examples. Okay, so Gem Residence, right, is also in a way during 17 when you buy in 38th floor, and then later on when you buy in a lower floor, it's actually almost $427,000 more just for lower 3 floors. So again, this sets the difference versus 1.46 million versus 1.88 million. When you exit out, this one will definitely affect your profit. Definitely affect your profit. But of course, with that being said, buying a property is always never when you buy. It's always when you sell. That is true. But of course, if you can control when you buy and make the maximum profit, why not do you do that, right? Okay, and of course, you can see across board, Gem Residence, which I pluck out a few more. All right, generally you can see different stack 3, 2, 7, 1. A lower floor actually costs higher, a lower floor costs higher, a lower floor costs higher, right? This is all due to late entry. But of course, sometimes when we are on the market, we go to some balance unit project. So does that mean that we don't buy those balance project now? May not be true, because it depends on your holding period. So sometimes as an agent, I felt you can openly talk to your buyer, even though now you go to Affinity, you go to Florence, late already, even you go to Treasures, price already went up, is it cannot buy. So there's a different strategy altogether lah. But of course, today we're talking about a fresh launch called One of Eden. So this is a very crucial point, a tipping point, why buying new launch in Singapore per se, it's really a key strategy, because of the many behavior that I mentioned about. Okay, so of course, if you got any questions, we can always talk about it, no problem. These are all just my personal point of view. These are what I used for my own consumption, for myself, my own clients, my agents training, right? So these are just my point of view, how I work. Today, I'm just here to share with you. Hopefully, you can take this and then you can add on into your decks and your presentation pitch to make it stronger for you, okay? And of course, we look at a very typical example. Coincidentally, tomorrow we are launching a well, and I guess to me, this project Rive, Rive, it's like a very good comparison for that project lah. But you look at Rive, if you check the land price, the developer probably break even at about 2004 ish, okay, from here. But on day one of the launches, there's a couple of telltale signs lah to me. So number one, of course, we as an agent, we know how strong is the check collection, all right? And number two, they are trying to profit at about almost $600 per square foot at about close to $3,000. So eventually, we all know since 19 until today, we are 2-1 already, right? But the sales wasn't that great until this point here, where they finally decided to drag the price, and you can see, right? So of course here, the developer trying to profit about $600. You can see the transactions as going as high as 3346. But of course, that didn't rank in too much of the units, and subsequently, then there will be a price drop here. And today, for example, Rive, it's a very good project for you to bring, because they are actually back to the break-even price, and subsequently we really see results. And eventually, next what we'll do is the price will definitely be adjusted back up lah. Right? So of course, in this case, the first mover advantage here actually is not a great move. So like I say, not every project it is going to do you well from first advantage. But of course, you can look at today, one-off, what is the break-even price, what is the land price? How much profit is taking from the developer is taking. So it's only about, say, $100 to $200, and definitely because of the small units, right, and the availability in the area, and the check collection, we definitely think, you know, entry is predictable in a way better lah. Right? For Well, for example, I guess the developers CPL didn't actually really go in this sort of profit. We can tell that the land was even cheaper than you know, from rebate. That's because GLS that time they had a better positioning lah. That one not for us to do anything, but the profit, the launch price, so it sets it tomorrow. It's very good for a first mover advantage for Well as well, right? So back to One North Eden. So this is how the main reason for myself. Okay, and of course we do some case study because we also don't want to tell our buyers, you know, just blindly buy new launch because of the raving effect, you know, the raving fans effect. But we do have passed before, just like just now, Rive, that you go in first, it doesn't do you that good. All right. And of course, you look at this project, we all know a while ago, many years ago, we launched this project called Sky Habitat, right? You can see how come in this project there will be people profiting at about 200,000-300,000. There's also people losing 200,000-300,000. Why? So the key reason you can see, it's when they enter 1-4 all make money, 1-2 all didn't make money. So obviously 1-2 is when the project just launched, and 1-4 is probably 2-3 years down the road when the price got adjusted. All right, because you look at the chart for itself, Sky Habitat, all right, a little bit older project, one. I don't know if you're already in the business, right? So at the point, break even is about 1,004, and you can see that the developer wanted to profit quite a bit for CapitaLand. Eventually, it doesn't do well. At this point, the developer dropped the price to break even price. Okay, so that's why people buying in 1-2 didn't make money for this whole lot of people. When you enter here, that's where the profit comes about, right? So again, we're talking about entry, first mover advantage, right? So I guess with this knowledge, I really want everybody to be able to talk in such a manner of numbers and charts and graph. You know, I use a square foot to pull off my data. That's for me. You can use any other vendors, no problem, right? So this is the back end, the reason why things behave differently. Okay, so we are back to number 2. So entry price, which we touched a little bit on earlier on already. So entering price means the price that you enter, how you look at the land price and everything, right? So today we also have an issue where most of your buyer will probably be asking you, hey, like example, One North Residences is cheaper. So there's always neighboring resale property that seems a lot cheaper. And then our buyer, including ourselves, sometimes will go into things like, oh, older properties are bigger in size, you know, things like that, to convince ourselves into buying older properties lah. But end of the day, of course, if no one's buy resale property, then our resale market also quite jala, right? But eventually people will buy lah. But we talk about, if we put two things apple to apple on the table, how can we prove that really new launch is a better buy than a resale property with the huge disparity? Yes, knowing the facts about the size may be bigger, things like that. Okay, but let's look at a very typical comparison. This is always what I use, is Commonwealth Tower versus Queens. So we can see back then we had every time we had a similar situation going on, where you can see that a new launch at a point is a lot higher, $400-$500 higher than a resale that's just opposite. So why don't we go and buy the resale? All right. Of course, from the graph, we look at this, the gap is about almost $400 averagely. So you look at the Commonwealth Tower price, eventually there will be a profit. People profited. Okay, they bought in 1.4. Remember 1.4. They bought in 1,006. Eventually they sell when TOP comes. These are the profits that people are making. So you buy $500 higher than the resale, but at the 1.8 period, 1.9, actually Commonwealth Towers, people are profiting 2 to 3, 400,000 per unit, versus you see Queen's price. Back then, if you buy a 1.4, the price are, like I say, $400 cheaper than the launch price, but today it is still at the same price. So eventually the price didn't move. So AKA, if you're doing 1.4, you buy a Queens at about 1,200, 1,001, which is $500 cheaper than the new launch. Fast forward 2020, 2021, today, but these data are from today, 2020, the price didn't move at all. Yeah. So why? So we must be able to tell our customer why is it. So there is reasoning behind that. Okay. Because number one, you must not forget, going into Queens at 1,002, 1,001, you must not forget there will be folks that have entered at their entry at about $780 per square foot. And then this is the reason why resale is always, after a while, catch up slower, because you got people entering at different price. Imagine you enter at 780, selling at 1,002, 1,003 is really profiting a lot for you. So you the other person enter at 1,002, there's not much of a push factor. Whereas you see on the new launches, everybody enter Commonwealth at 1,006, 1,007. Collectively, there is an energy, there is a transaction volume there to push it higher. And then this trend line you can see is repeating in Singapore, especially in Singapore. So earlier on, the point 1 and point 2 that I have mentioned to you, it's very uniquely in Singapore. You don't see this in Malaysia, in Thailand, in any other countries, because like I say, it is the people, the culture, the Asian people behavior, the governance, the way they control the pricing, the en bloc cycle. So these are very uniquely to Singapore. So I felt, number one, as an agent in Singapore, there's something you must profit from. And also as a consumer, as a buyer in Singapore, this is a very special phenomenon that is in Singapore. Okay, right? And of course, you can see again today, Queen's price is for these people is already quite profiting already. Okay, and of course we took a look at another project in Ang-Mo-Kio, right? Panel versus Grandeur 8. At the point when Grandeur 8 is launching, it's about 1,001. When Panel is launching, resale Grandeur 8 is about 1,001, where people are buying 1,005 for Panel. So again, it's about $400 gap. So why must I buy the new launch and pay more? So again, you can see Grandeur Panel, people who bought in at 1.4 eventually sold at TOP are profiting averagely 100 over 1,000. Okay, some more, some higher, some lower. All right, but where you can see upon the sales of that 1,919 or so 2,000, Grandeur 8 prices are even not far from the purchase resale price. Some even drop lower. So again, you can see this phenomenon repeating in many areas. So now, of course, back to one-off, you can see that the one-off residences is definitely priced cheaper, or the surrounding condominiums resales are priced cheaper. But then again, the entry is also very different. Okay, so of course, then we also realized that we might have a situation where HDB could be a comparison. So you see nowadays high volume of buyers. If you see their addresses are all HDB addresses, right? So of course, just now we talked about I buy resale condo versus new launch. Of course, some people will say, oh, then I buy HDB versus new launch, right? Obviously, now we come back to even Panel. You can see that back then, if you enter into the condo at 1.4, right? Many years down the road, say 4-5 years down the road, people are actually profiting from it and making this profit as a stepping stone. Imagine you are like in the early 20s, late 20s, early 30s, then this is your first pot of gold, about 5.8, 6.8, 7.8, so about maybe 200,000 plus your deposit that you take back will help you next level when you're late 30s, so it's a stepping stone how the strategy works. But if at that point the couple were to enter into HDB flat in 4-room flat in Ang-Mo-Kio, it's going to be about 500 over 1,000. But the fact is today, like the resale, all right, it's still about 500 over 1,000. Can break even, already, some people even lose money. But then if you talk about it, it's different from resale, all right? It's also this time we talk about resales because the entry is much lower. Remember, for Queens at $700 over dollars per square foot. But for HDB, because it is a public housing, it's somehow controlled by HDB on the pricing through remember they flip the valuations and all that, then prices are COV or controlled. So, you know, it's not really a trend for HDB to let you profit lah, today's market, all right? And of course, you can see, we talk about just how Sky Habitat, but we talk about Skyview. People went in Skyview at 1.3, exited, you know, from here in 1.8. You can see a hefty profit of almost 200,000-300,000. Whereas if you go 1.3 at the same time, you buy into HDB flat at 790. Today, you can still see that the HDB is still about the same price again. So to me, these buyers lost their first mover advantage because they've been through 5 years of their life sitting in a property that doesn't profit them, you know. But of course, not everyone can be convinced. So we are here having this because there will be people who need to be convinced this way, right? Some don't even need to convince, of course, you know. So of course, Commonwealth Tower, we look at Queens, but I mean, we not only look at Queens, we look at the HDB there, right? Which is quite similar to where we are, One North, which is also quite close to all these HDB flats. They are all not cheap. They are all $700,000-800,000, $700,000-800,000. And you can see that from here, you go into Commonwealth, you profit, but when you go to HDB, you come out in one night, it is still probably about the same price. And we know nowadays game plan for HDB, you know, is also 5-room flats and all that are going at about $1 million in that those area. And of course, Wang One North Eden, we're quite close to a few of those $1 million property. I bet there'll be people who rather, you know, want to buy the HDB in 1 million than to invest in the One North, which is also 1 million. But of course, I understand the fact that one got maybe 1+ study, the other one is a 4-room flat, got 3 bedrooms. But situational wise, you got to really study where your buyer come from. How can you convince them to go small but higher value in product, and then all because of the profits in future as a stepping stone. Okay, of course, and until here now, if there is any questions, you know, I can answer them again. Okay, later then I look at the chat. Okay, so you can ask questions. I may not always have the answer. I'll do my best to share with all of you. Okay, right. So far so good. Okay. Okay, number 3, I find uniquely to new launches, there is the advantage of progressive payment. Okay, how do we look at this? So of course, we all know how the progressive payment works, right? So these are the initial, and then after that, they go on to the construction, and then they goes on until the whole construction period, right? So for GLS, it's a little bit faster. For M Block, it's a little bit slower because they got to tear down and rebuild and preparation. So the process is a little bit dragged for M Block, and thus maybe sometimes there is a advantage to some buyers. Okay, so from our calculator we can see typically $1 million. These are how it breaks down. So these are the initial down payment. So why am I sharing this is because number one, it takes advantage of the progressive payment. Some people just don't have the enough funds or not ready for a bank loan yet at this point. So for a new launch, they can manage the bank loan accordingly. They can drag the timing a little bit, which is advantageous to some people. But yet, there's one more point. Some of our buyers, which the agent maybe didn't see this strategy, but there is availability, buying under trust. So, you know, buying under trust, then you got no loan, but you can probably, you know, in a way, it's not no loan, but you can make use of the progressive payment in a way. So, example, if you have enough down payment, for your stamp duties and your first payment, all right, then subsequently, all these are not able to take loan because of you buying trust. But honestly, some of the buyers out there, or in fact, many people are 1 year to save 100,000 is actually quite possible for them. Not all, but some, right? So we're trying to come up reasons. So imagine your clients, you know, they can't, they manage their taxes, they want to buy under trust, but yet cannot take loan. So the $1 million property is actually split into the down payment, which they are able to pay. Subsequently, they take 1 year to come out another 95,000, 95,000. Then when the brick wall and all that is 5%, 5%, 5%. So AKA this is like a free loan, interest-free loan from the developer to I mean, in a way, to the consumer because it's stretched across the construction period of maybe 3-4 years. But of course, this part here is a bit tricky. Your buyer have to understand this, and they must be able to be confident of their payment. So the payment scheme, the progressive payment scheme actually, could help some group of people who they got money but cannot be one shot 1 million, but over few years they're okay, or they cannot get the loan immediately. They need some time to work on their loan. So from the release of the loan, right? So these are the way they can massage into their financial. Okay. Anyway, so all the way until CSC, and CSC is dragged a little bit later, right? After TOP, there's another 15% over here. Okay. And number 4, I find this is also quite important. In Singapore, developers all give a 1-year defects warranty. You buy a resale property, there's no any way of a defects liability, which is actually quite attractive to some buyers. All right, because we're trying to come up reasons, because not everybody is buying the same way. So the more reasons you have, the better it is to zinc with your buyer. So nothing much on this. So number 5, of course, we all know this is always a easily forgotten point of view. A resale condo, like any of the resale condo that we mentioned just now, to be honest, or even a HDB flat today, the minimum renovation cost here is actually not that cheap. Easily for 4-room flat, people are spending averagely about $110,000, and these are all the cost of renovation that people don't really look into it. But whereas you buy a new launch, it comes brand new wardrobe, new flooring, new cupboard, new kitchen, new aircon, and in a way, it's also factoring into your property. You buy a resale, yeah, you also got to factor in, because just now when we talk about those people who buy resale and they didn't make profit, we haven't factored in maybe they renovate until like palace like that. Whereas the new launches, they probably can renovate as well, but most people can do without, and you still actually profit more than the one that you renovated. So I think this is a very important point to highlight to some of the people that may not overlook this point. Okay, and of course, end of the day, I mean, unless it's freehold, but brand new 99 lease is actually a lot better than the running lease. As you can see, one of the most last key point is people profit at TOP without SST, because unlike a resale property, you got to find a tenant immediately to manage your monthly installment at full release, and also you got to manage maintenance fee, and you got to manage your full SSD as you go to wait for the 3 years to be over. But whereas for a new launch, it's counted at construction. So actually upon TOP, there's a TOP effect where people are profiting without SSD, which is a key thing. So you can see many people at TOP are profiting from selling the property. Okay, even High Park, you see people are profiting at least $500,000. I mean, there's more, there's less lah, right? Of course, you can tell that this is actually quite important, because in Singapore we have a SSD to manage, right? So just now Pei Wen talked about the transactions. So really this is in comparison. Sometimes we just need some numbers. I know these are all data, but sometimes we need some comparison to show the buyers really why new launch is so strong, because of the 7 reasons I talk about. And thus, it contributed to all these transactions over here. But of course, you see, I've said this many times, but it's always a good script lah. So during circuit breaker the pandemic comes about probably somewhere here, the news, and then when the full circuit breaker was here, definitely the transaction went low. This is all for new homes. So the transaction dipped to 293. So the key question is, show flats all closed and all that, and we can't do viewings, and developers are closed door. By right, we should have 0 transactions, but because it's so strong call, 293 transactions are still done remotely they strike at the heart of the pandemic, where the full lockdown is here. Subsequently, you can see from then till today, the confidence have come up. It's up by 7.2 times since circuit breaker to today. And of course, we talk about year to year, January, you can see it's actually up 3.3 times up the transactions through a pandemic, which is reason for your curious buyer really think about lah. But of course, February, we know the transaction dropped a little bit due to this lesser launches and maybe Chinese New Year, stuff like that, because in February is always a low transactions lah. Okay, so I've covered these 7 points, 7 points that I felt comes back to this topic called why should everyone or anyone, just like even you guys, be buying new launches over resale property. Okay, so these are the 7 points that I've summed up for you. Hopefully they'll be useful. And of course, we look at a little bit about our one-off pricing strategy. Like I said before just now, we know we purchase price for land is about 1K, and then break even is about 1.6 plus. And then today we have a price this year that starting from 1,008, you can see your 3-4 bedder. Okay, and of course, if you look at the profits from the previous project, bigger unit seems to be really profiting a little bit more. Okay, but of course here there is a range of units for you to choose from, and then this entry price, so you got to study them a little bit. Okay, and you look at one-off residences. Okay, these are what that was transacted. These are the profits. Okay, it's pretty good profits for the past because they buy lower. Okay, yep, and of course looking at the competitive price of our other launches, which is what we are doing as well. So as an agent in this arena, I think you've got to be very fluent with at least no matter what is the pricing strategy going on, right? Because it's quite in comparison. Okay, and even on profit, you can see people profit about $1 million in one-off residences. One-off is a very special area lah. The projects there are usually not that huge, right? I think even one-off residence is actually quite small. Even for this Eden, it's actually quite small. And we all know there's 2 more land released. These are very good news for the people buying Eden, because there's actually parcel A, which they have no name, so the government give it parcel A and parcel B lah. And we can also see from here, it's still a small project again, 265 units and estimated about 140 units, right? Coming up for sale. So definitely you see that the cycle goes like that. This GLS over here will not launch cheaper probably than the GLS that was bought previously, and thus it comes back to the pricing strategy again from here, how eventually this break-even price will always be higher, right? And that's how that the profits will come about. Okay, so I think it's very good that it's timely that parcel A and B is being released news, that we can use it to profit onto our selling in one-off Eden. Okay, and of course, I think this should be the most used news for us, because you all know Tanah Merah MCC, they bought the land. After Grandeur Park is finished, then they have this land come out, and you can tell that the sites you sell for new apartments for about 1,007, 1,008. So if Tanah Merah is already at this price, coming back to your one-off, you can see actually quite good price lah. I mean, from here, they didn't really go out on a very huge profit. So of course, throughout the launch of one-off, which is about 165 units, I predicted that probably through the whole day of sales, the price may move in the middle of the sales lah. But we have to manage accordingly lah as agent, because the developer don't have a lot of units to profit ma. So they can only profit through the day one sales staggeredly through the middle. So of course, this is by balloting. So I wish you all the best in your ballot number. Okay. And, you can see from here, biddings are actually quite aggressive. In fact, for the Tanah Merah, you can see that it's actually quite a high price, right? The purchase price, right, is over here. It's quite a high price accordingly to here. See, 930. So 930. But yet there is a lot of people participated in the launches, and you can see that the prices are actually very near one another for the bid from the developer. So this one shows a lot of confidence. Of course, this one I don't know why they bid so low lah, but not the case. But you can see these are all developers that are active in the market. So everyone from the development sites are actually wanting to buy land, and they're actually quite confident about the bid. And thus you can see GLS out there are actually pushing the price higher. So definitely back to the case of the parcel A, parcel B, it definitely will be pushing up the price again. Okay, so that's all I have for today. Let's see what you guys have questions or not. Give me a second. Yep, it's okay. No, don't have question. It's fine though, because I mean, let me see. So for those who enter late into a project, would be holding longer to be an answer. Calvin, you are not wrong, but the thing is, of course, it's never when you enter, it's when you exit because you cannot enter, and entry cannot always be predicted lah. So of course, in typical sunny Singapore lah, it's also proven lah, buy high can sell higher lah. That's a wrong strategy, but in Singapore, it's proven possible lah. So like example, it's now we talk about the few project that people enter late, even in GEM, in Forest Route, they buy higher. They probably cannot exit now if they want to. Anyway, they also because of SSD 3 year. So yes, they should have a longer holding period, will eventually be good lah. So of course, longer holding period will actually you will also grow older. So sometimes all these are the things that we are juggling lah. So we have another question. How do we account to early buyers for like 38 Jervois RV82? Yeah, so to a question from LT, he put it to panelists, so probably you guys cannot see it lah. So yes, they lose money. So like I say, it's the same case as Rive, where the entering timing is wrong, but there are still some telltale signs that is wrong lah. But of course, the god of prices to tell you which one is wrong. Some telltale signs I think it's all some risk involved lah. Okay, so say treasures, even if you go in, Kelvin, back to Kelvin. Thanks for putting into panelists and attendees so everybody can see the questions. So Kelvin says, so treasures, even to go in now, still lower than a lot of, yeah, correct. So because we must understand the cost of land is cheaper for the developer because it's they bought the land a while ago. Of course, it's from my M block. All right, so that's why because of the cost of land, the developer could actually still manage. So the whole idea, Kevin, you can see, is the cost of land actually go up a lot higher. It's so fast that the developer, for the later launches, even pricing at a lower profit, still higher than your older land that is already increased in price. So like I say, Kevin, so as an agent, we have to be really, really fluent in our price and our availability so that we can really help to advise our clients, because sometimes I see the agents are not so fluent with the availability. What is the how treasures have moved up already, how the treasures, the land price come in, what's the price that the developer enter. So these are something that will affect on your knowledge that transfer to your buyer. Yeah. Alan, let me see a question. How can we convince investor to buy One North Eden if the investor think that the price for Normanton is lower? Sure. Well, of course, I think apple to apple, they are quite in comparison. It's not say a lot lower as well lah, but of course you must understand One North Eden, it's at Biopolis is something a little bit different than Normanton, which is a very huge project. Yeah, so it's really personal preference lah. So of course, you must be able to find out what is your buyer preference. Is big and is that size, that 100 over units very exclusive to him, or he is okay with very huge unit. So eventually they have to make a choice. But the thing is, Alan, you just have to close the deal. Whether the buyer buy One North Eden or buy Normanton, it's actually no difference to you. I felt I mean, so it's a good news to you. So you shouldn't fall into the trap of of that comparison, right? So really got to see what the buyer wants to buy. Because at the end of the day, Alan, there'll be people who buying One North, there'll be people buy this Normanton. Only when TOP comes, the profits on the table, we can really say the 100% truth to it. But of course, then what I'm saying now is buying both is not wrong, you see. So it's just really a preference because there's no right and wrong. Okay, because if you go into buying one-off is correct, buying momentum is wrong, which one is right, which one is wrong, then you get yourself trapped, you know. So buying both is actually correct, because the fact is about buying as early as you can, right? So it's just about which one do you prefer. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I hope I answered your question. Guys, if you got any questions, yeah. Thanks, Alan. Yeah. Thanks. Good that you got it. Yep. Ken and Nico, are you guys coming in to touch up a little bit on your product? You know, if you wish to. But meanwhile, I just see what other questions we have. Guys, it's okay. Feel free to ask your questions, even anything. I may not have the answer, but we can always discuss about it, right? So of course, like I say, these pointers, 7 pointers today, they are not something secret. They are not, you know, it's something that is really so factual in Singapore. And sometimes we just need to put them into a simple slide and be able to know how to curate the pitch to explain to them. Definitely cannot to everybody lah. I can't even convince some agents, you know, right? But the thing is, humans are just having different opinions lah. So at least this is a curated slides that you can talk to people that wants to be talked to. Kelvin, you'll be asking, any developer profit margin beyond which we should not enter? Well, I think it's very hard to answer this question, but I do personally have a number. To me, I'm anything $80 to 100. Sorry, I correct myself. Anything $100 to $180 or 150 is my magic number lah. Anything higher or that, it's not say wrong, but I must see the situation. You know, so this is a very hard to answer question. You know, cannot be though. Then some people profit $300 means, oh, Kevin say it's wrong. I cannot. No, depends on the situation. Like I say, the check collection, we also know the health level, right? So example, Rive at the point of the initial launch, we all know the check collection is low already. So it's quite a telltale sign again. So Dennis said, great that you share the data on developers' projected cost versus targeted selling points. Helps shows why not every new launch make profit, correct? So, you know, we cannot blindly just go in and tell the buyer, just buy new launch because there's so many people grabbing. Yeah, some of them, you like that, they grab already. This is the magic of a new launch because it's a very hype up thing. No choice, it's like that. People are very herd mentality. But, you know, it's really back to real convincing for some of the buyer on numbers and graph lah. So it has been Darren said it has been quite a while since One North had any new launch, correct? Yes, correct. It's been quite a while. In fact, Nico, how long have not have any new launch? I think everyone should be able to tap a lot on Didi Nico. She and Ken Talk is our Didi in charge. I know Nico has been an agent for almost like close to 20 years, and her close, and her playground ever since she was an agent and you know is somewhere near this One North area. So she has seen how One North that got no condo to today One North residents and how the resale market work. So actually y'all can really pickle her brain a little bit on all this knowledge lah. But also sometimes to ask too much, a bit too heavy lah. So Nick, how long has the One North having no launches already?
14. This is the 14 years already.
14 years. Wow. Okay. Yeah. 14 years lah. But sometimes there in Singapore also very small lah. Actually, if you talk about One North, then 14 years lah. But surrounding got launches lah, which is not that far away lah. Yeah. Yeah. But of course, One North I say is a very special. I would say One North, not a lot of people are very comfortable and very familiar, to be honest, because it's like a you know, like an area itself lah. So I think really need to sell and bring the buyer down to walk around and get familiarized, something like that. I felt. So yeah. Oh, Dennis shared. So yes, it has been 13 years since last launch. Yeah, correct. Okay, guys. Any more questions? Any questions? I think Ken and Nico can also help to answer if they got anything to fill in. So what we're going to do here is we just want to help everyone. By an open discussion to see how we can have more ideas to convince the buyer that is in the border of the line. Trust me, there will always be buyers that don't need you to say anything, just want to buy because Singapore is so transparent. They know everything already, honestly speaking. And of course, there are some buyers who everything is a problem lah, right? So we can't convince anyone. Just like some agents, everything is also called a problem. You know, first we ourselves have to be convinced. There will be ways that we can convince our consumer who are in the border line lah. Yeah. Yep. So Darren said to be exact 14 years, right? So it's accurate to say that there's a pent-up demand, one-off area. Definitely yes. There could be a pen. But like I said again, the area also because of the small quantity, market cap is very small, right? That's why 有一点 being eaten back by the small market cap lah. Yeah. Any other questions? Any other questions? So I can just flash back the launch price for you all to see again. Okay. Yeah. Any other questions, guys? Yeah. Because it's 3 o'clock. I don't want to drag too much on the timing. So short and simple to the point training is easier for everyone to remember together. Right. Sometimes too many slides a bit confused as well. Okay, Nick, Ken, any shout out or sharing or call to action to our agents who have been tuning in? Oh, not bad, almost 200 of them here today.
Yeah, okay, I just want to probably round up that this location, like mentioned by Kevin just now, that a lot of people do not really understand One North that well, especially people not staying in the southwest location. So what as agent, right, you need to share is really the location first to let them understand how living in One North and how much investment value this location is. Then just now talking about not just about 14 years without like launches, the original number of supply here is also very little already, because when we sell the resale market for the 4 condos, right, 2,075 units only, and given the kind of number of supporting like officers, those kind of knowledge workers that we are talking about, right, definitely is, and also the school, because interestingly I got a lot of buyers for this area, for this that have kids going to Fairfield itself. So in fact, yeah, a lot of people buy in for own stay, the bigger units like 3 bedrooms and above. And so these are how vibrant the market here, the 4 condos here has been working on. So no brand new one. That's the one very important thing. If you want something new and in this area with a lot of like future investment value also, even if for own stay now, next time a lot of them they move out, right, they rent it out also. So that's why the rental also very supported, not just for like people working here. There's a lot of institution here, so people study here are also renting. So I'm quite confident about One North over this plot of supply, I would say. So you have to share the, I mean, people were very, sorry?
You see over here the
people
see the profit here. You can see, check back the unit size. Yeah, you can see the unit size. So these are the bigger unit one actually. See the unit size. Yeah. I mean for One North residents lah, those that profited, the unit size are actually this size. So you check back what 1,000 plus. You check back to our price list. You can see, yeah, it's this quantum lah, this size. Yeah, could be something that you can probably suggest to your buyer to upsize lah. That's all I say.
Because the big units in One North itself also very few, I'll say. The supply, like even One North residences, if I'm not wrong, there's about 20 units of 4 bedroom also. Then for the oldest condo there, right, older condo usually people think that there's a lot of big units, right? But for like Dover Parkview, which is the oldest, there's no 4 bedroom except for penthouse, and the penthouse is only a couple of units. Then for the Heritage View, right, the 4 bedroom is only about 12 units also, out of 600 over units, only 4 units of 4 bedrooms. And if not, then you go for the penthouse already, which is also about like 18 units. So the number of big units, okay, maybe you can go to Rochester, but Rochester, penthouse, 4 bedroom also very few. So I think you really can like sell for people who are looking for bigger units, right? You can actually let them know about the supply of 4 bedrooms here. So in future, even they want to sell, right, their competitors is very few. So yeah, so that's one of the selling point. And the PSF for 4 bedroom is really very attractive in One of Eden.
Yep. So I mean everybody can spend some I felt an agent can spend some time to look at some resale knowledge about the sizing, the prices. So when you're, because your buyer will be also comparing. Oh, we got someone say that One North Eden only got 32 units of 4-bedroom. Oh, that's quite little lah. Yep. And of course, we also got our two IC with us, Samuel, right, and Regine. Yep. Okay. Ken, Nick, any other things? Unmute, please.
Sorry. Yeah, we have tried many rounds already. I think now it's ready for you to digest it and from your own mouth, right, go and share with your customers the thing we share with you. If you're convinced with what we say, I mean, I'm convinced. I'm here for this in this market in one of area, global area for the past 15 years. So I'm pretty convinced that this is a very strong area to enter. Yeah, if I can buy, I will buy a unit, to be honest. If you can buy, you can consider also. So your family members, all this thing, it is somewhere that is quite safe. Looking at the transactions, you can check the transactions there for all the new existing projects. It is a lot, right, Kevin?
You can buy under trust, ma. It really sometimes some buyers they are not so uptight with money, as in not say they immediately they have, but they are also not very far away. So the strategy of telling them actually is a free interest-free loan from the developer using the progressive payment may work out for some people. It did ever work out for my client before. That means they are rich people, but not that they got that $1 million cash immediately. You know what I mean? So they buy under trust. They use that construction period to raise that 200,000-300,000 every year. It's easy for them. So this is a method for them. If you know what I'm talking about, yeah. Nick, you understand what I'm talking about, right? Nico, yeah. Because of the call for, so actually, you just need the payment every time they call for payment. So this strategy actually is very uniquely in a BUC project that works for a certain category of people. And I just felt sometimes the agent, they themselves didn't see the possibility of this, and thus they couldn't enlighten the customer. Yeah. Yep. Ken, you want to say something?
Hey, hello, hi. Sorry, I'm just now arranging all the appointments. Okay, so for our price, you can see from here, we have 1.4x. Yeah. So a lot of people asking me, how much 1.4x? For me, my experience was telling me that I will quote the higher, meaning that 1.490 or 1.488. You can see the developer how they do it. Okay, they quote 2.288. Okay, 1.288. So you can use the 88. Okay, just go for it. And 2.088 millions, you can quote for it. And 2.588 or 90, up to you. But don't worry, tomorrow I will be at the tentage helping you all to push for the check closings. We do have a very special tools that you all can come and look for us for the rental yields. So for the rental yields, we'll help you to convince, and you don't need to show them any things. We have a so-called our fact sheet to show it to them why One North Eden is the best for rentals. Okay, I will show them all the facts and figures. Trust us, we will help you to convince the buyers. And I will be at a tentage to help you to push up all the check EOIs. So trust us and look for me. I will be there. Okay.
Wow, see,
Kelvin?
Very good. Yeah. So of course, I know, guys, we are here. The leadership team is here. So we have got Ken. You all know Ken is so experienced in project marketing, and Nico, he's so experienced in the resale market, and now she's helping us in the project. So we Ken and Nico around, and of course our two IC, Samuel and Regine, right? Right. I think it's gonna be easier for you to bring your client here because there's so much help available. But anyway, I think the natural aspect of this project actually is quite attractive. The positioning, the pricing strategy, the entry price, all seems to be quite very favorable to the launchers lah. So should be able to be on the easier side to convince your buyer. But of course, the tough side is limited units. So that one really, it's the most challenging thing. Yeah. This project 不是怕卖不出，是怕不够卖。That is the only thing, right? So of course, for for your buyer, seriously, if they are interested, I always say this very important thing. As an agent, don't bring them until the point that you are going to decide to buy or don't buy. Putting in the EOI is just a chance to go and see whether do you have a chance to buy. Really, at the end of the day, go until there, don't buy long. But if you don't put in a ticket, you cannot get the chance to go and even decide what to buy. By the time you decide it's a good buy, you're not in the queue, it's too late already. It's only 100 plus units, it's going to be all gone. So actually don't need to go until so chicham lah. Just tell your client, go in first, get a chance anyway, it doesn't cost you anything. But go in, let the hype, let the facts of the sales push the closing for you, it'll be the best. Really. Okay. So yep. Nick, there's a question. How do you estimate rental yield when TOP is only about 3 years later? Yeah, so it's all estimated. I mean, Darren, if you that's a question. Or right? Nick, you have anything to reply for Darren's question?
To be very interesting, right? The rental here has been sustaining for the longest time. You look at the past rental market in One North and Lower area. So even if it's getting older, right? Every year it's getting older. But the price sustainability is very high because of the demand here is super strong. So if you ask me, you can actually use current rental rate, right, to project also, because I've been renting out every year, on and off every year. I've got so many renters over that area. It's been sustaining, even though it really get older over like 10 years. It's still renting out about the same price, like compared to 10 years ago. Yep, so that's what I see.
Yep.
Ken has more numbers table to share with you all tomorrow, and during this review period. Look for him on the closing tables.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I think also a fact that you can get them to submit the EOI easier, because not that you submit, you confirm get a unit also, because like what Kevin say is get not enough units only. So just get a chance. Who knows that they get a good number, then they are the lucky one who can secure a unit first.
Yeah,
okay.
So for this project, it's 真的是怕买不到。Okay, so with that said, we will end today's seminar, and we wish you all the best in bringing your people down to One North to get your EOI settled. All right.